2020, 10 students had a meeting to order. Secretary Kurzik, please call the roll.
Andrew Ferreira.
Here.
Nick Redmond. Molly Yingling. Matthew Kernsick. Richard Amy.
Here.
Anthony Palmer.
Here.
Carolyn Dooley.
Here.
Victoria Shepard. Ellen Shoup.
Here.
Bill Smith.
Here.
Justin Kraus. Andrew Lee. Caroline Nathan.
Here.
Taylor Plank.
Here.
Billy Weiss.
Here.
Ryan Woodward. George Caswell.
Here.
David DeBoer.
Here.
Sarah Federa.
Here.
Candice Lopez. Kevin Lugo. Shruti Nayak.
Here.
Abdur Rahman.
Here.
Mariah Johnson.
Here.
Anthony McComiskey.
Here.
Malcolm Perry.
Here.
John Price.
Here.
Brett Stewart.
Here.
26 PELR.
Here.
Action Against HIV/AIDS.
Here.
Allies.
Here.
Here.
Amnesty.
Here.
APL.
Here.
Art Society.
Here.
Biosphere.
Here.
Black Student Union.
Here.
Bomb Squad. Cheers.
Here.
China Club.
Here.
Circle K.
Here.
Civil War Club.
Here.
Class of 2011.
Here.
Class of 2012.
Here.
Class of 2013.
Here.
Class of 2014. Classics Club.
Here.
College Democrats.
Here.
College Republicans. Dance Ensemble.
Here.
Disciple Makers Christian Fellowship.
Here.
Drop the Octave.
Here.
FCO.
Present.
Fencing Club.
Here.
Film Society.
Here.
Four Scores.
Here.
Gaia Pagan Society. Game Club.
Here.
G-Berg TV.
Here.
Gecko.
Here.
German Club.
Here.
Gettysburg Sangha. SMUT.
Here.
Habitat for Humanity.
Here.
Ice Hockey. Interfaith Council.
Here.
International Affairs Association.
Here.
International Club.
Here.
Japan Club.
Here.
Jazz Appreciation Society.
Here.
LASA.
Here.
Law and Justice.
Here.
Lutheran Student Movement.
Here.
Memory Club. Model FEC.
Here.
NAACP.
Here.
Operation Smile. Owl and Nightingale.
Here.
Peace Club.
Here.
Free Health Club.
Here.
Free Vet Club.
Here.
SDS.
Here.
Shots in the Dark.
Here.
Skeptical Chemist.
Here.
Society of Physics Students.
Here.
Student Alumni.
Here.
Student Athletic Advisory Committee.
Here.
Swing Club. Taekwondo.
Here.
Ultimate Frisbee.
Here.
Upscale.
Here.
Water Polo.
Here.
Wiffle Ball. Women's Rugby.
Here.
Yara. ACM.
Here.
All right, I move to approve last week's minutes.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. Officer reports. I regret to inform you that Cal Decato has resigned from his position as senator and chair of the Gettysburg Class of 2012 seat. Also, senators, please expect an email from me and Victoria later on this evening. Molly.
We have 3 organizations coming through testimony tonight, and during new business, I will be presenting and we'll be voting on the preliminary budget.
Matt.
First of all, seating for everyone who's new. The senators sit in the first 2 rows, and only senators will sit there. So that's the first thing. And the retreat is this Sunday, and it is mandatory for all senators to be there. It counts as an attendance on your record. So that's all for me.
Richard.
Talking about the constitutional amendments during old business today.
Just wanted to remind everybody, this Thursday, the 30th, is the registration deadline for all clubs. Registrations, the leadership are continuing to work, so please email me if you have any questions. I'm going to work in the office, so again, you guys can stop by the office hours if you have any questions.
Is there any old business? Are there any motions?
Motion to untable the constitutional amendments. And was budget?
Motion, there's a motion on the table, has it been seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Budget and constitutional amendments are on table. Richard.
please send a copy of the new one, but I can't get it before we vote.
Any motions?
Motion to approve the amendments.
It's been moved and
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstention?
I didn't get to read it, so I'm not, so. Just saying.
Constitutional amendments are approved. Now the budget's up.
Okay, again, everyone should have gotten an email with this. I sent it to the club reps and the members. I received some feedback about it. I hope that I answered those questions. Also, I was just, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but sometimes the award is greater than the request because we've been adding the $100 base budget. And so when things have been cut that, we've been for base budget, that money's been added back in via the $100 base budget, so that's why you see since the award is greater than the request. Did anyone have any questions about their club's, recommended award?
Any questions?
You can request more than your.
Yes, like, there are additional requests, you just contact me for these here.
Yes.
The base, the preliminary, the base budget
Yeah.
changed because your TV was in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
I got that.
Any other questions for the treasurer? Any motions?
Motion to approve the budget.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Budget passes. I move to confirm Victoria Shepherd as Chair of Special Events and Programming. Victoria, you need to stand up. Any questions for Victoria? Okay.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. I now move to appoint Patrick Hill, Senator of Patrick Hall.
Question about that?
Just like
Little
introduce yourself and tell us a
spiel,
little bit about
Sure,
yourself.
yeah. My name is Patrick Hill, I'm in room 421, so anyone, if you have any questions. I'm really involved in leadership and, student government, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to get started, so.
Any other questions for Patrick? Okay. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. I now move to approve Sean Moran as Senator for Huber Hall.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Moran. I'm in room 124 of the Hall. I've had some leadership ability with my youth groups, even when I back in high school and that, and I figured I'd love to jump straight into becoming a senator here, if you approve. Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations. Andrew Lee is ill today, but I'm moving to approve his, to extend his term for a full academic year. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Oh, Andrew's not here, but just congratulations. Next up is Dan Lamb to serve as full, senator for the fall semester. Dan.
Hi, my name is Dan Lamp. I'm currently the vice president of the junior class, and I've been the Senate rep for the Action Against HIV/AIDS Club for the past 2 years. So, figure do student senate for a semester and actually get to vote at these meetings. So,
Motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
but I've been involved in a variety of leadership activities in many different parts of the campus. So yeah, I'm a senior, and I thought it would be a great way to give back.
Motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations.
Can we motion to table the rest of the at-large appointments until further discussion? Can we do that?
Senators can do that, and you can as well.
I'd like to motion to table the rest of the at-large senator appointments until further discussion, because we wanted to get a chance to discuss. We only get 3 at-large seats, and they're really supposed to be to fill necessary places where we see a need, like a gap in the student body representation. And I don't think that we should be appointing all 3 today. I'd like to discuss it with the Senate, discuss it with the board of directors again. So I'm gonna motion to table the last 2 appointments and see if we can discuss it further next week. And if you guys agree with me or disagree, you can vote. However, I can motion a roll call vote.
There's a motion on the floor to table the remainder 2 appointments. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Appointments tabled. Next up is College Democrats. Oh, sorry, Jeff Foster, he'll be speaking in regards to community standards. Jeff?
You want me to go now?
Yeah, everything's pulled up on the computer.
Great.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time you had. My name is Jeff Foster. I work in College Life. I know many of you. Here today to talk briefly a little bit about some conversations that myself, Dean Ramsey, and Rita Rice, if you know Rita is, have been having with some students on campus. So if you're an RA or a residence life staff, or you're an athlete or a Greek chapter, you may already have this discussion. Does that sound fine? See a lot of hands. That's fantastic. That means I've actually kind of infiltrated deeply into the student body with this conversation. That's a good thing. The basis of the conversation that we're looking to have this year with students is about kind of what we've noticed over the last couple of years regarding students and violence. We've had a rise over the last 2 years in the number of assaults and fights. And we track a lot of data around assaults, fighting, alcohol use, those kinds of things. And one thing we watch carefully is the number of assaults that we do. Those have been going up. So what to do about that? That's why we've been having these conversations. I will have a conversation with you really to focus on kind of what we need to do together as a community to make sure you're safe, make sure you can be here and study. People don't really come to college to fight and do these kinds of things. You're really here to learn and study. And I'd like to get some feedback from you. It'd be helpful for you to let me know after this conversation. Are we on track? What feedback do you have? What things are you noticing? What things can we do to continue this effort? I mentioned assaults are up over the last couple of years. We've been talking. After we have hearings, just so you know the process, if someone's involved in a fight, normally that case is referred to student conduct review board. We have board members in here, student conduct review board. We have some conduct review board. A lot of assaults. We see a lot of assaults that go to the hearing panel. And some of the things we talk with them about when we hear from our board chairs and our board members, some of the key issues: escalation of violence, self-defense, and protecting a friend. Those are the 3 key things I'd like to talk about. Spend a little bit of time on. We've really been trying to help in these conversations, help people understand that escalation of violence is something you cannot do. It is not acceptable to go into a situation. We see it all the time where people get involved in a fight. There's an insult thrown one way and then someone responds with a punch. We're very focused on it. We're very focused on making sure that people are not escalating violence. We also hear a lot about self-defense. Every time someone's in a fight, well, why were you in a fight? Well, I was defending myself. Every single person that comes forward and says they were in a fight says they were defending themselves. And we were trying to help the students, everybody kind of understand that that's not legitimate. We'll hear it, we want to talk about it, but it's not going to always be kind of a way you can dismiss being involved in a fight. Self-defense is not something that you can always claim. And we also hear this protecting a friend. And you can imagine when people run into someone's chapter house or their apartment or their residence hall room uninvited, So, so you have a fight, you have an incident, all right? What is it that you can expect the college to do? This is kind of just here, I'll talk you through this. First of all, we talked about whether it's protecting a friend, or we even have situations where people will be two friends who get in a fight and say, oh, we were just goofing around. Whatever the situation is, we're going to call the police. All right, the police will be contacted if there's an assault. Police have to determine if a crime has occurred, so you need to know that. Second, and this is where I'll touch on this point. I want to be clear that nothing I'm communicating with you here tonight is new policy. None of this is new policy. We, through some conversations this summer, and after talking with some students, we felt it was important to kind of have the conversation, to talk about it with the community, to remind everyone what their expectations are, and let you know what it is that we're going to do if we do encounter a fight. So, like, interim suspension is something that's not new. This has been in existence for a very long time. Last spring, we started using interim suspension more routinely in response to assaults and responses to fights, and it seems to be effective. It's what interim suspension is, just so you know. If you're involved in a fight, you'll come in, you'll talk with Ms. Rice or myself. But generally what we're doing pretty quickly is to send people home before we have a hearing. So you have to go home for the week or so, 3 days, 5 days, a week, however long it takes us to get organized for a hearing, and you'll be at home. You can work on schoolwork and stuff like that, but you cannot be in campus, you cannot be in class. We feel it's important to kind of interrupt that student's behavior and send them home. And again, I think this has been an effective step. This is not a permanent thing, it's not a permanent suspension, it doesn't go on your record or anything like that, but you do have to go home. And so far, we think we've been finding some results with that. Third thing, conduct board hearing, I already talked about that. Like I said, escalating self-defense, these are things they're focused on, and I just want people to know, so when people go to board hearings, they know what they can expect the board to be looking at. Assaults and fighting, you can expect, if you're involved in assault or fight, you should expect suspension from the college, all right? Don't expect a warning, don't expect lower level sanctions like that. You should expect a suspension from the college. Now, is every fight gonna result in suspension? You know, that's something that we're working with the board on. We're in training as we speak. We're having these conversations this month and into October to kind of talk about that. But that's what students should be expecting. And hopefully that's what the community would expect to engage in that behavior. You should also be aware that egregious repeated assaults and fighting, if you just don't get it, or if you really, really harm someone, you can expulsion is something you can be aware of. So we know the difference between expulsion and suspension. Probably do hear the word expulsion is permanent dismissal from the institution. Suspension is you have to leave for a period of time and you come back. Any questions on this college response slide? Again, just want to be crystal clear about what you can expect. What should you do if you encounter violence? It's always something I think that people struggle with. It's always a hard conversation to have. Our expectation is that you withdraw from the situation and get assistance from DPS. If you walk away from this conversation with nothing else, walk away with that. If I encounter violence or I run a situation where there's violence, I need not engage, I need to withdraw, I need to contact public safety for assistance. That's the expectation. I think everyone knows how to get a hold of public safety. If you don't, the number's up there. Do not participate in escalating any situation, whether it's verbally or physically. Do not escalate a fight by going after a friend or protecting them or trying to intervene. It's very important that you don't engage in those kinds of behaviors. Any questions on what it is we need you to do if you encounter violence? Sorry, yes?
What do you do if DPS takes 4 minutes to get there?
The DPS takes 4 minutes to get there.
It was time.
Yes, I mean, obviously, public safety, if you're calling, there's something going on right then and there, it might take some time to respond, depending on what's going on. Yes, that certainly is the case. I don't know that changed the expectation, though. I think the
But, like,
expectation still exists.
you can walk away and have them to DPS rather when they get there.
Well, I think the other option being that you engage and you somehow, I just don't think responding to violence with more violence is I don't think what we're trying to accomplish. You know what I mean? You're saying someone's in immediate harm's way, they're getting the crap beat out of them right there, and you're supposed to walk away? Again, I don't, what my response though would be is that's not often what we're dealing with. What we're mostly dealing with are two willing participants who want to fight and want to engage. And the other instance, you have to, yes, do people, sometimes is there a lopsided or one-sided assault? I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen, but that's not the majority of what we're dealing with. We're usually dealing with a couple, we're dealing with men who fight, we're dealing with men who are drinking, who are fighting, and we're dealing with men who are often willing participants. Now, I'm sure there are exceptions, I'm sure you all think you have to use your human instincts as well. If someone is very, very injured, you're going to use your human instincts, but again, the expectation is contact. My last thing is just like, any questions, like I said, I'm interested in kind of, are we on target, or are these the right steps? Have you guys noticed anything? Casey?
I'm sorry, but I think that this is great so far, but I think that there's a real gap in this policy.
Okay.
Over what the past 4 weeks since school's been in session, I've noticed that twice in the DPS reports that there's been forcible sex offenses reported, and there's no discussion about sexual violence in this thing, and I think it needs to be added to the discussion.
Okay. The Student Conduct Review Board, as I was talking about, deals with these physical assaults. Sexual assaults and sexual misconduct has a separate policy and a separate set of procedures. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a conversation about that. If you want to have that conversation, I'm happy to come back to this group and have a conversation about that. But the goal of what we're trying to focus on here is around fighting. Does that answer your question or not? Really?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just you phrased it as discussion around violence, which is why.
Okay. Well, I'm more talking about fighting because that's the area where we've seen the data has shifted. We have not seen data shift in around sexual assaults or sexual misconduct incidents. That said, as you pointed out, there have been 2 incidents in the daily activity log for public safety. Yes.
I have a question about the interim suspension procedures. How does that work if a student can't afford to go home, if the student's from across the country or in a place where they can't just go home? How do you handle that?
It's a great question. I mean, obviously, you very case by case specific. Even if someone is far away, sometimes they can make a combination to leave. If that's not possible, we would try to figure something out. I don't know exactly what that might mean, whether that's friends or relatives that live more in the area or in the region. But really, the goal 1 is to get the person off campus. Goal 2 is to have that person. I think that when students spend time with their parents or with their family or with their friends and kind of think about what's going on and work on preparing for a hearing, that's helpful for the student. So we really want them to be with their family, but if we can't do that at a minimum, we'd like to get them off campus. So I don't know if that makes sense to you. We get someone off campus without necessarily sending them home to California. But so how can we do that? There's a number of different things that we can do. Logistics do matter. We do take that into account.
There's an amnesty clause also, right? Where if you're, let's say you're a freshman, you're in a first year dorm, and there's a fight happening, and you're drinking in the room. If DPS is called, you don't get points. for
Right. We're not.
drinking.
Yes. If public safety is coming in, if someone calls public safety for assistance and there's alcohol involved as well, DPS is the way I like to phrase it. DPS will be focused on the assault. All right. And then your area coordinators, the residence life staff would follow up. If you live in the halls, your residence life staff would follow up with you and would work with you on the alcohol stuff. But yes, generally, unless obviously unless someone else is there that you can transport to the hospital,
Right.
we're going to deal with that.
Yeah.
We're going to.
Any other questions for Jeff?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Since the beginning of the school year, there's been about 3 attacks on the road by Lincoln Diner in between the Majestic and Ice House. What has DPS done to sort of prevent these attacks?
I hesitate to speak on behalf of DPS anyway. So I am aware of 1 reported incident. You said 3. I'd have to look more into that, but I'm aware of 1. What I can do, the best I can actually do is I'll bring that to Director Lafferty's attention. I'm not really kind of in a position to respond with what public safety may or may not be doing as far as I suppose your request talking about is increased attention being paid to that area? Are we directing patrols to that area? That's something I'd have to follow up with public safety to answer. I don't want to put misinformation out in front of this body. And Andrew, I'll work with Andrew on that to get that information back to this group.
Any other questions?
If you have anything, myself, Dean Ramsey, Rita, if you know any of us, please contact us. I'm just Jay Foster here at Gettysburg, so you can contact me if there's a conversation that needs to be had. Yes, I'll follow up with your question as well. I'm happy to do that.
Jeff?
Thank you.
Next up is the College Democrats.
try to not go on forever. College Democrats are just here tonight to approve our budget for the semester, 2010 semester. And as you can see, the amount requested is $860. Is $860, and as I began, I'd just like to say that College Democrats, despite the name, is in fact open to everybody. So we pride ourselves on being one of the most active clubs on campus. All of our events are open to the wider student body, and in some cases, the wider Gettysburg, borough of Gettysburg and Adams County community. Essentially, we've got two major events this semester. The first is a voter registration park, and that would be for any and all registered voters here at Gettysburg College. As everyone is 18, almost everybody is 18, that should hopefully be everybody. It will be held at the attic, just as sort of a thank you for doing your civic duty and a celebration of the rights and freedoms that we have as Americans. And we have projected, based on previous events and events put on by other organizations, that the amount to successfully pull off an event, including invitations, publicity, catering, and excuse me, and the other necessary decorations and such, would be $450. Our second big event is our semi-annual DC trip. This would be held over reading days. Saturday of reading days usually, and we have budgeted $260 for that. And what that is College Democrats sponsors, and this year we hope to fill a minibus full of Gettysburg students that want to go down to Washington DC and get to know the nation's political scene firsthand. It is open to members of the club. It is also open to any student here at Gettysburg. And so we've got $260 for bus and driver. And finally, we have budgeted $150 for PR materials such as poster board, duct tape, markers, the art stuff that they keep me away from because I can't draw. We budgeted $150 for that. It would also include business supplies needed to make that, and College Democrats National promotional material. Gettysburg College Democrats is affiliated with but independent from the National Democratic College Democrats organization, and so we have to pay for any of the promotional material we receive. This includes general get out the vote in a nonpartisan way, and it also includes join College Democrat pins, bumper stickers, etc. So that, including the business supplies and promotional material, we were budgeted $150 for. And I would like to stress that that is actually money that will probably roll over because we will hopefully have leftover material at the end of the semester. And so the total comes to $860. Just for your consideration.
Any questions? Yes.
How many people can go on these trips?
It depends on the capacity of the minibus, which is.
In the past, I think we've had about 15, 20. I think the most they had was about 25 people go, a few years back. But it's just popular, there's no agenda, it's just good on TV.
Is it possible to expand that?
If we had the interest, we would definitely
Oh,
be
yeah.
expanding it.
And
Why not?
definitely growing out.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you're requesting your entire budget now, and it's not in the rest of all the club's original budgets? Budget hearing period. So, because, the reason I'm asking is, so do you guys have a base budget right now?
We do not.
Okay.
Any other questions?
We recommended $810. This was, there were cuts made for the promotional material and basic supplies, but then the addition of $100 base budget.
I'm just curious, why aren't you affiliated with the National College Democrats?
Because of the way the club and the national structure.
We will be soon. It's just kind of going through great channels, but we'll be part of the project. I motion to allot the full amount.
Second.
motion to allot the full amount is on the floor. It has been seconded. All those in favor? The motion has been put to roll call and it's been seconded. Secretary Krensic, please call the roll.
Nick Redmond. Molly England. Mike Krensic, nay. Laura Block. Navora, Carolyn Dooley. Charles Meehan. Kevin Schmidt. Victoria Shepherd. Catherine Darby Hall. Ellen Shoup. Bill Smith.
Abstention.
Justin Kraus. Dan Lamb. Andrew Lee. Carol Nathan. Taylor Plank. Billy Weiss. Ryan Woodward. George Caswell. David DeBoer. Sarah Federa. Candice Lopez. Kevin Lugo. Trudy Nyack. Abdur Rahman. Patrick Hill. Mariah Johnson. Anthony McComiskey. Sean Moran. Malcolm Perry. John Price. Brett Stewart.
2 yeas, 1 abstain.
Motion has been defeated. All those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Congratulations. Next up is Gettysburg, Sarah Ford.
Okay, if I pull my scarf on.
Yeah,
Oh. I'm here on behalf of the Gettysburg because we had a budget request for $5,000, basically to help us sort of build a base budget since we are not Senate recognized, but we think that we provide a service for the entire college community. If you never read the Gettysburg, you can never see it around. It's a completely student-run newspaper, has been since 1897, so there's a really big tradition of students writing for the paper. It prints weekly, articles benefit the entire college community, and it's great for keeping parents and alumni informed about what's going on campus. This is some budget information. It's basically a price breakdown. The cost of printing the paper goes up each year, but our base budget that we receive from the school stays the same. It's about $10,000. We print 1,400 copies a week, usually between 8 to 12 pages each. So you can see from the prices that's how much it costs to print the issue each week. This is kind of what our budget is compared to other schools. Bucknell, apparently anything goes for Bucknell, but other schools have much larger budgets than we do, and so we're starting off with less. In order to supplement the budget, we sell ads on and off campus, and we also sell electronic and print subscriptions. But none of our writers can write stipends for all this. Like, they really do put in like a week of work, and nobody can get any stipends. subscription. Does anybody have any questions? We recommended $3,500. This would be a one-time only, contribution to the Gettysburg. But we believe that, just in looking at that PowerPoint, that we see many ways in which cuts can be caused just by, reducing, the number of copies that are printed, upping, the, cost of subscriptions and so forth.
What is all that money going to go towards? Is there anything specific that you're adding to it this year, or just to cover costs?
We're hoping that the cost will go towards, we have a new website, we want to look into buying a domain for the website, because the website brings in a lot of, outside people who want to advertise in the paper, so that gets our name out there. We're also looking to, maybe do some color, we just, and then the rest of the money would just go into like having a base budget for ourselves, so that we wouldn't have to keep dipping into our advertising and subscription money each year. So just to kind of cover ourselves.
Any other questions? Jake?
I have a question. How did you get to exactly 5,000? Was that just a?
It was what was suggested to us at the last semester, that it was kind of like what Senate would be willing to give us in order for that base budget.
Other questions? Yes.
One of the suggestions was to cut the number of copies, and it says you print about 1,400 copies, which is less, that's a little more than half of covering the copy for a student. Can you like maybe talk about what it would look like to cut down on the number of copies?
Well, the next step down would have been that 1,200 copies, and there's really not that much of a price. I mean, there is a bit of a price difference between the 1,200 and the 1,400. It's not that significant of a difference. And with more subscriptions that we're getting, we just want to be sure that we have enough copies to go around to who wants one. Yeah, it's really not that significant.
That adds up.
It does, yeah. It's true.
Any other questions?
Is the number of pages vary from week to week?
Yeah, it's between 8 to 12 pages, depending on how much is used in that each week. So that, my estimation was based on if we did 10 pages each week, that's kind of like an average between 8 and 12. Yeah.
So you're not willing to go down to the top?
We've done it before, but we're worried that the larger number of subscriptions that we're sending out, that we won't have enough papers.
Carolyn?
Couldn't you try that? Then you, I don't know if everyone sees it, but in Plank, there's a lot of issues that just sit there and extra copies. And it seems like it'd be over 200. Can you try going to 12, down 1,200? I mean, if you run out, you can always go back up, but.
Yes.
I just have a question about distribution. The only places I've noticed that the paper is available is in budget. I think there would be a lot more readership if you would have in Servo. Does that happen now?
We haven't been putting them in servo. We did that last year, but I stopped it because we came to Senate like 2 years ago to get money for newspaper boxes, and as of now yet, the facility still has not approved our newspaper boxes, and those would be around campus and be another way to distribute paper, so that they don't just sit in planks and that they're more on top of what.
Yes.
So if we do grant you this money, you'd be able to purchase these boxes and distribute them.
This money wouldn't even go towards boxes. The money is there for boxes. We just need the approval from facilities.
Kevin?
Are those like boxes like normal newspaper boxes?
They're like the professional newspaper boxes that you see like in town.
What
And
is
we
it?
wanted to put one in town so that even people like on the outskirts of campus could get a paper too.
Is there like a specific reason that they haven't been approved?
It's not that they haven't been approved, the people but have put it too long enough for it to start nagging us on a daily basis.
Matt?
My power is limited.
Matt?
Sarah, can you just go forward to the slide with the other colleges? Yeah, I just kind of wanted to reiterate that we really do receive significantly less money from the school than all of them. Those schools are all the same size, if not smaller than us, except Bucknell. So, I do think that it's money well spent to give to the Gettysburgian. I want to give my 2 cents because it's been around for so long, and they do great work. I think for the money that we've been giving out and the cost benefit of money that we can give to them as opposed to giving it to other places, I think they are worthy of the money in my opinion.
Jake and Casey.
So let's say you do get the newspaper boxes, finally, you actually get them, your readership then increase and you would need to actually print even more copies.
Exactly.
So,
Or we'd have to stay at 1,400 so that the extra newspapers that now sit in blank could go in boxes.
okay, so for now, then you would decrease them because those extra newspapers aren't actually going anywhere?
I don't know yet what we're gonna do with the number of newspapers.
Casey.
Can you just clarify where the funding is coming from? Is it coming out of, the budget for all the clubs, or is it coming from a different?
The student activities fee, there's also a rollover account, but it's all essentially the same account. So it would be coming out of the student activities fee.
But it's coming out of that rollover account?
Essentially, like that's.
Okay.
One thing too, just the Gettysburg and Felicia have been running deficits this year, probably like $8,000, $9,000. And so I just wanted to put them up. They did a really good job of getting themselves to a pretty soft point financially. They did a lot of things to make the paperwork more efficiently and build their revenue. So that they done, some work to improve this. They're not just coming to people saying, give us more money. They've done a lot to save money as well.
Any other questions? Are there any motions?
Motion to allot the full amount.
Motion has been moved and seconded to allot the full amount of $5,000. Motion to roll call has been seconded. Will Secretary Prinsick please call the roll?
Nick Redmond.
Aye.
Molly Unley.
Aye.
Matt Kritzik. Aye. Laura Block.
Aye.
Carolyn Dooley. Casey Garvey Hall.
Aye.
Charles Meehan.
Aye.
Kevin Schmidt. Victoria Shepard. Ellen Shoup.
Nay.
Bill Smith.
Aye.
Justin Kraus. Dan Lamb.
Aye.
Andrew Lee. Caroline Nathan.
Yay.
Taylor Plank. Billy Weiss. Ryan Woodward. George Caswell. David DeBoer.
Aye.
Sarah Federo.
Aye.
Candice Lopez.
Aye.
Kevin Lugo.
Aye.
Shruti Nayak. Abdur Rahman.
Aye.
Patrick Hill.
Aye.
Mariah Johnson. Anthony McComsky.
Aye.
Sean Moran.
Aye.
Malcolm Perry. John Price.
Aye.
Brett Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Parliamentary wants to vote.
27 yeas and 3 nays.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Next up is the Office of Residence Life, Danielle Phillips.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Phillips. I'm the Associate Director of Residence Life. Thank you for some time tonight. I'm coming to you guys on behalf of a new initiative we started in the office this year. It falls under a first year learning plan that we're doing, and I can go to as much or little detail with that as you guys want me to when you ask questions, but the specific program that we're coming to you for funding tonight are area programming boards. And it's an initiative that we've been working with OSA on a little bit to develop this summer as their director did a similar program at Dartmouth College that she was part of when she was there. And also, we spent some time talking to some students, some staff, some senators over the summer as well. And what the area programming boards are basically is it's first year programming boards. The first year senators in the room will actually be getting a lot more information about it this week. Now that you guys have a full slate of senators, and we'll be talking. And basically, it will be programming focused on first year area quads. There'll be a West Area Programming Board for Rice, Palestine, and an East Area Programming Board for Peter, Hanson, and Patrick. And what these programming boards will be able to do is basically student-initiated programming. There are a number of venues on campus, obviously, that do this very well already. Campus Activities Board does campus-wide programming very well, as you all know. And we have class officers who work with their class officers and leadership councils to do programming for classes as well. But as we did leadership, or as we did focus groups, and as we talked to students as they were coming out of the first year areas over the last year or so, we found that they still feel like there's some gap in a number of different things that they would like to do, whether it's RRA, our residence life staff, has some budget, but it's very minimal. It's $100 for a year per floor. So they can only do so much with $100. So basically, we were looking a way to kind of fill the gap for students who are saying, we want substantial programming that costs some money. How can we do that? Whether it's, Rice Hall wanting to do a Rice coffee house, or Huber Hall wanting to go snow tubing, or something that will help connect around hall identity, area identity, call their SIPs, it's student initiated programs. And basically what it is it's programming boards that supplement the programming that's already on campus through student requests. Students who want to do something that isn't already available on campus, that they can propose to other students and basically say, you have this budget, this is what we're looking to do, this is why we don't think the need for this is being met already. You know, can we use your money and work with you to plan this programming? We don't want to, this is a question that came up, we don't want to take away from anything that's already present. We want to work collaboratively with CAB, we want to work collaboratively with class officers as a support for them to be able to do things as well. But we do feel like we were receiving the feedback that there was a gap in some of the programming that students were wanting to see. And if they took the initiative to plan and initiate this program and work with already existing campus resources, could we provide the money for them to do that? So I can go into context and history and all that stuff if you want to, but I only want to give you guys the information that you think is appropriate. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to.
Any questions? Kevin?
Can you explain who will be on the board?
We'll be working with the first year class senators. That's why I said the first year class senators will be getting more information about this. In the week, I was waiting until you had a full slate of officers. And what will happen is they won't necessarily, they'll have the option to serve as the area programming board, but their main role, if they don't want to serve as the actual area programming board themselves, they'll be recruiting people within the hall. So it could be the class senators, or it could be 4 or 5 different people in, Rice, Paul, and Stein Hall that are really interested in bringing area-specific programming to their quads. So it starts out with the initiative of the class senators, and they'll actually be sitting down with myself and some residence life representatives in the next week or two to talk about, is this something that they're interested in actually forming the board, or are they more interested in recruiting students who are interested in forming boards? So it can look a number of different ways. And I think the one thing I want to point out, as well as this is a pilot program this year, a lot of schools, Dartmouth gives twice as much money to their students to do what we're trying to do, but we want to be frugal, we want to be responsible with the money we're spending, and we want to pilot the program and see if it works and see if it meets the need. So we want to start out with enough money for it to be significant, to be able to do programming that isn't just ice cream socials and pizza parties, but we also want to be frugal and responsible with money we're spending as well.
Any questions? Yes.
So will this money be only for quad-based events, or will this also trickle out to hall-specific, floor-specific events?
It would be up to the area programming board. I think it would be mostly hall and area events, but any student in those quads would be able to go to the programming board and say, we want to do this activity, will you help us plan it, will you help us finance it? And I'm not saying every activity that happens, the board would finance completely. Like, they may be able to say, like, we have this much money, we'd like to subsidize it so it's not as expensive. Could you give us some money to help us, initiate or do this programming? But it would be any student within the quad would be able to go to the programming board and say, we want to do this, can we have some money for it? And then the board would decide if it's something that they allot money towards.
David?
BMC did not recommend any money. We believe that if there is a lack of programming and initiative on the part of the first-year students, that the focus should be to improve the outlets for that already exist, not making something new. But along with that, if the area programming board was something that got off the ground, we believe that the money should be requested on a case-by-case basis based on what the board decides that they would like to do.
Sam, Nick, Jake, Bill, Casey, and Matt.
My question is, in the future, will there be any programs similar to this, with like upclassing? Because right now it feels as though it's like maybe just the freshmen have this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything is possible, and as we pilot this, we could look at that, but like I said, our goal isn't necessarily to take away from opportunities that are already out there, but a way to connect the first year classes that transition onto campus and bring identity to hall. So I think it's something, that we can talk about, but I think right now we are looking at piloting it as a transitional connection, kind of identity building for the first year chairs.
Sorry. That's a surprise. Couldn't a hall, correct me if I'm wrong, couldn't a hall come to Senate and ask for money for a trip? Couldn't they, if a hall got together, or even a quad got together, couldn't they come to Senate and ask for money to do a trip?
That's another thing, that's
some more hall identity building, you know, like they talked about field day, and what a great thing field day it is during orientation, but there's really nothing else that's like, you know, for Stein or build up the Rice identity or Huber identity, so you need hall events, like, you know, whether it's a trip somewhere. And the other thing people were saying is that, you know, people say they go to CAP stuff and they go, you know, and go to different events, but that they would like to say there's a specific interest on a floor, because a first year seminar in Hanson Hall has an interest in something specific. Could they bring someone in, you know, specific to what the topic of that seminar is, or you know, different things like that to say, you know, they may want to do, you know, some sort of a lecture, which the seminar example, which is if they want to do something specific to that seminar topic, but that wasn't happening on campus, the funding wasn't really there for that seminar to kind of put together and say, you know, let's bring this person to Hanson, or, you know, this activity to, you know, Stein or whatever. And I think, you know, it's very legitimate to say that every time there was an activity that wanted to happen, class officers or students in Paul or whatever could come, could request the money and say, you know, we want to do this specific activity, can we have that event? But I think we were hoping to be able to put a group of students over top of it, organizing it, doing it on an ongoing, regular basis, that they'd be able to implement significant and numerous events, that they wouldn't have to wait for Senate approval for every event that they wanted to do, that if we had a suggested broader goal, that they'd be able to go to their peers who are overseeing and managing the budget, and be able to draw on it on a regular basis and not have to wait for their approval for every single instance, was our kind of hope.
As a few things of clarification, is it, so it only be first years allowed to these events then?
At this point, it is part of the first year program.
And if you are granted the 10,000, you don't use it all, I imagine that money would go back to Senate, if the money is not used?
I think it could either go to Senate or it could go to the program next year, whichever.
And then, this one's for Molly. Molly, has Senate approved departmental requests in the packets?
We approved departmental requests at the end of this one.
And this was a program that was developed over the
Just wanna make sure everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure everyone knows, Senate does departmental requests on cases like this, it's not like a weird thing that Res Life is requesting something.
Yeah, that was kind of what my question was, like, why is Senate the body that is being asked to front this money to Res Life? When I feel like there are so many bodies on this campus that could give out money for things like that, I'm just not quite sure why Senate is, I don't know, maybe that's just me.
If you do get the funding for this, is this something that will be built into your budget next year, or is it gonna be an ongoing thing that you'll be continually
It's something
requesting?
that in the spring, when departments came and brought requests, we would be able to do at that time. We just weren't prepared because the initiative was developed over the summer.
Well, first thing, is this coming from our regular budget, or is this coming from, like, the additional money that we have?
The rollover.
It would come from the rollover, okay. And, also, do you guys requested funding from other departments? Like, has OSA given, like?
When we
funding?
talked to, College Life and OSA, their suggestion was to come to you guys because it is so student activities.
And, wait, one more thing, I'm pretty sure that 10,000 is, I don't know, because they keep it private, I think that's more than the first year budget, is that the first year class officers that are supposed to be given money, I'm pretty sure that's more money than the group that's supposed to be doing that kind of thing is getting. So I think that's.
And I have Kevin, Meg, Dan, and Bree, Caroline.
I just want to bring some perspective to this. Being an RA, I'm on Stein 3. I've had a lot of requests about how can we do group activities. You know, where can we get funding? Like I had things about like parties with pinatas, going camping, lots of things. And I mean, I think I hear a lot of stuff about is this only freshmen? Well, I mean, yes, but everybody here was a freshman at some point. And the goal of this is that this is a way for them to work together, and it would be like, if every time a group wanted to do something, they ran the Senate, that would be ridiculous. So if they have this money and they're overseeing it in this board, which I can say, like from my residents, there's already people who are interested in this, that would be a way for them to build, identity, like she said, and make friends that aren't just on the floor within the halls, because CAB events are great, but like you don't go to them as a hall, so you meet people and everything. But like we said, field day is a great way to bond as a hall, and I just want to bring that perspective. Like it's a community
are looking at it as, you said, it's providing what we are hearing through focus groups, a gap in some of the programming, but at the same time, we are looking at it as that, you know, to start to get people engaged in campus and a leadership opportunity that would transfer to potentially Senate, club presidents, you know, different things like that, but we have not talked to that yet.
Dan?
My thought just comes from, or I guess I'm curious as to why you're not approaching the class officers. Coming from that point of view, I just feel like, especially for freshmen and sophomore year, the class officers work towards creating class identity. And I feel like this is something that kind of falls under that realm. And further, I know that as a class officer, it's been very hard to create like a desire for a lot of first years to get involved in these things. So I just kind of feel like what you're saying doesn't necessarily match the experience that I know class
Well,
officers
I think
have
our hope would be that we could work with the class officers,
Okay.
you know, and have a larger budget to be able to